graph, and then I've shown you from the table again. So we were plotting it. We were plotting the graph using the table. Okay? So now I'm going to be showing you how to get the equation from a graph that has been given to you. So in other words, they give you the graph. Now they want you to determine the equation of that particular graph. Next? Okay. So this is it. What is this? Y. No, what is the whole thing? From last week, I told you from last week. What is this whole thing? Okay, you have forgotten. What is this? Okay, it's a Cartesian plane. You don't remember? It's a Cartesian plane, again. And then this y-axis. On the line y-axis, our x is always equal to 0. On this line. Next. And then on our x-axis, our y is always equal to 0 on this line. See it? Okay? Now I am given a graph, a straight line graph. And then being given a straight line graph, they have given me the points as well. I have point number 1 with coordinates -1 and 3. -1 and +3. I have point number 2. Point number 1. I have point number 2 with coordinates of 3 and -1. So I have told you that the first value in our coordinates, is an x coordinate. Again? Or it's an x value. So this -1 is an x coordinate. This +3 it's a y what? Coordinate. And then 3 is what coordinate? 3 is what coordinate? Is an x coordinate. Okay? And then what about -1? It's a y coordinate. Okay? Yes. So remember we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and then we have x and y. So before y, there is always x. Okay? There is an x and then y. There is an x and then y. Okay? Yes. So here is my question. The question says, determine the equation of this graph. So I have told you last week, the time we were plotting this graph, that this is a straight line graph, isn't it? Yes. And then the equation of the straight line graph is y equals to mx plus c. Yeah? Yes. This is the equation of the straight line graph. Again, where our m is gradient and our c it's a y-axis of our equation. So the first thing that I have to do, I am given this, and then the question says determine the equation of this graph. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to write this kind of equation on my book or on my worksheet. And I say, okay, this is a straight line, and then the equation of the straight line is y equals to mx plus c. Okay? The first thing that I'm going to do for me to get this equation of this graph, I have to find first the value of my gradient m. And then this gradient m has a formula. So its formula is equals to m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the formula. Very simple formula. So math, guys, is very simple because it has formulas. Anything that has formula is programmed. For you to get that a certain particular value, you have to know which formulas they use. So that's how simple math is. So I am given, I know that this m represents the gradient. And then I have told you that the c represents what?
Y-intercept.
A y-intercept. This c represents the y-intercept of our graph. So unfortunately, they didn't give us the y-intercept, which is supposed to be here. We are going to find this y-intercept after finding the gradient m. Okay? For me to find the gradient m, I have told you on my point 1, I am given the coordinate, which is x value and y value. Okay? For point number 1, I have got the x value, the x coordinate and the y coordinate for point number 3. Okay, I have point number 1 and point number 2. So I have the coordinates for point number 1. And then I have the coordinate for point number 3. For point number 2. Okay? So I have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Okay? So I have what coordinate? X coordinate and what? Y. And y coordinate. Okay? This is the x coordinate for my point what? For my point 1. Okay? This is my y coordinate for my point what? 1. Okay? This is the x coordinate for my point what? 2. This is y coordinate for my point what? 2. Okay? So going back to my my formula. Again, I have y2 and then I have y1. Again, this is my y coordinate for point number 2. This is my y coordinate for point number 2. Okay? That means this is y2. You understand? Yes. This is y coordinate for point number 2. That means is what? It's y2. Because it's a y coordinate for point number 2. You see it? Yes. It's a y coordinate for point number 2. Which is negative 1. So where I see y2, what do I write? Negative 1. Thank you. I write negative 1. And then you should keep it inside the bracket. And then I don't use this minus. I write it as well here. And then now I am going to y coordinate of point number 1. Of point number 1. What is my y coordinate of point number 1? Is positive 3. Y coordinate for point number 1 is positive 3. You keep it inside the bracket. Alright? And then now I go to x coordinate for point number 2. What is x coordinate for point number 2? It's positive 3. Clap the hands. It's positive 3 inside the bracket and then you minus. Again, don't forget this minus as well. Again, and then now I'm going to x coordinate for point number 1. So what is x coordinate for point number 1? Negative 1. Negative 1. And you guys are the best. It's negative 1. You see? No? Yes. Now I am going to solve my gradient. I'm going to solve for my gradient. Okay? So now -1, I have -1, I can write it outside of the bracket, and then I have -3 multiplied by +3. What is negative multiplied by positive? Yes? Negative. It's negative. So I'm going to have -3. Again, divide by 3, that is inside my bracket. I take it out of the bracket. Again, and then what is negative multiplied by -1? Positive 1. Again, I have +1. And then what is -1 minus 3? For my numerator? Negative what? -4. I have -4. Again. And then what is 3 plus 1? Is 4. So, and then what is -4 divided by 4? Yes? It's -1. Therefore, our m, which is our gradient, this m represents the gradient or the slope. Again, our m is equals to negative what? 1. -1. So we have found our gradient, which is m, which is -1. So we are going back to our equation. Again, we are going to say y is equals to, where we see our m, what do we write? We write -1. -1 multiplied by x plus c. Again, what we are going to calculate now is the value of c. Okay? We have found the value of m. What we are going to calculate now is the value of c. Okay? So write. Can I write here? We have y is equals to -1 multiplied by x plus c. Now we are going to calculate the value of c. So for me to get the value of c, I have my what? My x coordinate. Okay? I have my y coordinate. Okay? 4.1. I have my x coordinate and my y coordinate 4.2. Okay? I can use the coordinates either in point 1 or in point 2. It doesn't matter for me to get the value of c. If I don't want to use the coordinates in point 1, I can use the coordinate of point what? Of point number 2 to get what? My c. I get? So, okay, let us use the coordinate for point number 1. The coordinate for my point number 1 is -1 is 2, 3. Okay? So if I take this point, I have an x coordinate. Remember, I have a y coordinate. Okay? Yes. So since I have an x coordinate, coordinate, that means where I see my x, I'm going to substitute it with that x coordinate, which is what? Negative what? 1. -1. Okay? And then I have a y. Then I can substitute the coordinate of point number 1, which is the coordinate of y. What is the coordinate of y? Anyone? Yes? Yes? It's 3. So that means where I see my y, I substitute it with what? With 3. I have 3 equals to -1. Where I see my x, I substitute it with what? -1. -1 plus c. And then I'm going to have my 3. What is -1 multiplied by -1? +1. I have 1 plus c. Okay? For me to get the value of c, what should I do? What do you think I should do for me to get the value of c? Anyone? Yes?
Take 3 to C.
I take 3 to what?
To C.
To C. Okay, anyone who can try something? What should I do to get C? Yes? Speak louder. Okay, yes?
1 plus 3 divided by
Alright. Okay, guys. For me to get this value of C, I have to make C to be alone at this right hand side. Okay? We have the left hand side, we have the right hand side. Okay? We have the left hand side, we have the right hand side. Okay? I have to make this C to be alone at my right hand side. Okay? What should I do to make this C to be alone at my right hand side? I have to take this one to this other side of the equation. That means I have to transpose 1. No? And if I take this one to that other side of the equation, it's going to change sign. If it's positive, it's going to be what? Negative. That means it's going to be 3, and then this one to this side is going to be -1 equals to C. You see it now? Yeah? It makes sense now? Yeah?
I don't understand.
no.
Okay, you don't understand? Alright. I have 3 equals to 1 plus C. Okay? I have to make this C to be alone on my right hand side. Or I have to make this C to be the subject of the formula. The way making a variable the subject of the formula, I have to transpose or to take this number to the other side of the equation for this C to remain alone. So if I'm taking this to that other side of the equal sign, it's going to change the sign. If it was negative, it's going to be positive. If it was positive, it's going to be what? Negative. Okay? So since it's positive 1, I am taking it to this other side of the equal sign. It's going to be what? -1. So I'm going to have this 3. Then I'm going to have this 3 still. This 3 doesn't change. I leave it the way it is. I'm going to have this 3 minus this 1 that comes from that other side of the equal sign. Okay? Which is going to be equals to C. You see it? Then, so what is 3 minus 1? Is 2. So that means 2 is equals to C. Therefore, C is equals to 2. Do you understand now? What you shout? Alright. So we can proceed. So did you understand? All of you? So all of us, we have used point number 1 to find the value of what?
C.
Of C. Okay? So that means I should go back to my equation now. I have to substitute C with 2. That means where I'm going to see my C, I'm going to put what? 2. And then now my equation, which was y equals to -1 times x plus c, is going to be y is equals to -1 times x plus what? 2 plus 2. This is a complete equation. We are done with determining the equation of this.
So this thing is confusing.
So, okay. So, for us to remove the bracket here, né? This bracket, see this bracket? For us to remove them, we are going to say negative 1 multiplied by x is negative x. Agree? Remember guys, there is 1 here. There is coefficient 1 before x. Okay? So I'm going to say what is negative x, what is negative 1 multiplied by 1 is negative 1. Okay? Negative multiplied by positive is negative. Okay? So there is no need for me to write that one again. I can have negative x plus 2 as my final equation. Yeah, what is confusing? Oh, this one? Okay, where should I start from? So, but did you understand how we got the gradient? Okay, let's start, guys. If you didn't understand this, your chance to understand now. Right? So, just listen attentively. I have found my gradient, which is negative 1, isn't it? Yeah? And then my gradient is m. This m. Yeah? I've substituted 1 where I see my m. Yeah? That means I'm having this equation now. Right? But this equation is not complete. For this equation to be complete, I have to find the value of c. Yeah? For me to find the value of c, I've told you I can use the coordinate for point number 1 or coordinate for point number 2. Okay? So, we have used the coordinate for point number 1. Again? Then the coordinate for point number 1 is negative 1 is to 3. Isn't it? Again? Hello? The coordinate for point number 1 is what? And then what is this negative 1? Is it an x coordinate or y coordinate? It's an x coordinate, right? And then this 3 is what? It's an x coordinate. 3 is y coordinate. Again? Yeah? So that means if I have to find the value of c, I have to go to my equation. My equation has 3 unknowns, but I have to find only this unknown c. Again? So now I have already have the value of y, which is 3. You see it? And then I have already the value of x, which is what? Negative 1. So where I see my y, what am I going to substitute? Yes? I substitute positive 3. Where I see this y, next, I substitute the y coordinate of my point number 1. You see it? Which is 3. Again, I substitute 3. Here, I substitute 3. Then, I say equals to negative 1. Where I see my x, what am I substituting? Where I see my x, I substitute negative 1. Again, plus c. Alright, like everyone now is getting down to the party. Do we understand? You understand? So now, what I have to do now is to use calculators to calculate.
Sir, why are you still writing C when you face C?
Oh. C is unknown. We don't know the value of C. But we know the value of y and the value of x. My value of y is 3. My value of x is what? Negative 1. My value of c, I don't know it. I have to calculate it. Okay? Yes. So we are in the process here to calculate the value of c. Now I will say 3 equals to what is negative times negative 1 times negative 1?
Positive.
It's positive 1. Positive 1 plus this C. What do I have to do for me to find the value of C?
Leave the C.
Yes, I must have the C alone at the right hand side of the equation. Or what can I do as well?
Change plus 2 negative, and then take change
Okay. Yes. That's we have to transpose. Clap the hands to it. Yes, and then after? We are taking it to the other side of the equal side, not to the right. We are transposing it, we're taking it to the other side of the equal side. It is going to find 3 at that other side of the equal side. You see? Now we are going to have 3 minus 1 equals to C. C is now alone. You see?
Yes.
Then what I have done here in mathematics, I have made C the subject of the formula. Now, if C is alone here, I've made it the subject of the formula. Now I have the license or allowance to solve my things alone to find the value of C. And then what is 3 minus 1? Is 2. That means 2 is equals to C. And if 2 is equals to C, therefore C is equals to 2. If banana is equals to April, that means April is equals to banana, right?
Yes.
No? So, therefore my C is 2. Do you understand now how we got C? Okay. Now, we take in the very same C because we have found it. We have to substitute where we see C. You see? Yes. Now I can substitute it. I can just say y equals to negative 1 multiplied by x plus 2. Right? What is negative 1 multiplied by x? It's negative x. Then negative 1 multiplied by x is negative x plus 2. This is my equation. I have answered this question. If this question was having 10 marks, that means I got the whole 10 marks. But we have used point number 1. Now I want you guys to find for me the value of C using the coordinate for point number 2. They are going to give you the same answer. What are you going to get for the value of C is going to be 2. But I want you to find that value of C using the coordinate for point number 2. So let us try it. Can we try it in our books? Or can we try it on the board? I want you guys to participate as well. Again? Yes. Now, now we have to calculate the value of C using point number 2. Again? So I'm using point number 2 to calculate the value of C. So anyone who wants to try it, you just have to substitute and then you solve. That's all. Yes, come to try it. And then if you have made a mistake, we are together. We are working together. Good. Good first step. Okay, this is the simple. Yes. Yes. Good. Yeah, that is equals to -1. Don't forget the -1 for the derivative. And then, okay, wait. What is the value of my x? What is the value of this x here? 3. It's 3, okay? That means where I see x, what do I do? So here is 1 dx. Now, where you see, yeah, over the reference, because where you see the value of x is a inside the bracket. So, okay, it's fine. So, who can continue from that? So, since I want all of us to participate, who can continue and so I've heard someone correcting, talking, and then they're making sense. Who was that? Yes? Remember, we are solving the value of what?
C.
Of C. So just continue from where she stopped, okay? Yes. Okay, why are we seeing 3? That's correct. So what should be happening then? Since we have -1 multiplied by -1, what should happen here? What is -1 times 3? It's -3, okay? -3 plus C. Mashakala Matro, guys. Yes, come and complete. Come and finish it up. Okay, stand here, come here, stand here. Okay, he has shown that he has taken this -3 to this side, okay? And then what did I tell you that if you take a number to that side, it has to change the sign, okay? So this is correct. Finish it up. Okay? Yeah, it's fine. Can she help you? Mashapele matso, guys. Okay, who wants to finish it up? Come. Oh, no, take the white chocolate. She was saying the answer the time she was sitting down, but now she's standing, she's blank. And she was begging me to finish that up. Yes, come and help her. Okay. Yes. Therefore, yes. Okay, just stand here. Then tell us why are you saying this side you got 2? Why 2? Because we said 3 minus 1. Again, 3 minus 1 is what? 2. So can you see that it doesn't matter if I use the value of 1, if I use the coordinate for point number 1 or the coordinate for point number 2 to find C, I will still get the same answer. Yeah? So if I don't want to use the first point to get the value of C, I can as well use the coordinate for point number 2. I will still get C equals to 2, C equals to 2. It doesn't matter. Okay? Who can now come and plug C back to its original equation? Yes, come. Are you fine? Are you good? Yeah? Are you okay? Yes, Mushabele Matzo. So that means this is our equation again. And don't forget that negative 1 multiplied by C if you want to write it in a nice way, guys. Okay? But even if you leave it here, we are going to give you full marks. Yeah? Again? Mara, if you want to write it nice, in a nice mathematic way, because if you give me this kind of answer in grade 10, I'm going to mark it wrong, because you have to make the final step for this. But if you give me this equation in grade 9, I will get out. So if you want to write it nice, you are going to say negative 1 multiplied by x is negative x plus 2. This is our equation. We see it now? Now I am giving you an activity. They've given you worksheets, and then in activity number 3, we are going to do activity number 3 as our classwork. And then, let me see. Yes. We are going to do activity number 3 as our classwork. And then, we are going to do another activity number 3. You see this activity number 3, this side, this one. Again, we are going to do it as our homework this one. But this one we are going to do it as our classwork. this one is our classwork now. This one is our homework. Now, are we clear?
Yes.